To this week's live Monday music motivation. I think this is going to be fun, as always. I know I say that every week, but it's a lot of fun for me to be here with all of you and hopefully give you a little bit of inspiration and motivation to practice this week. This morning, actually, I was listening to the Mel Robbins podcast, and she was talking about happiness and some actual research-based science behind what makes us happy and makes us feel fulfilled. And as I was listening to it and thinking about it, I was like, this is very similar to the things that we get out of music. So I sort of wanted to go over what she said and share that all with you, as well as sharing why we can get that out of music and how to get that out of music, and to hopefully help you get that out of music as well for yourself. So what it was sort of three things with some subcategories, of course. And I think, again, all of them can be found in music. So the first one was this idea of hedonic versus eudaimonic happiness. And just to explain what that actually is, hedonic is the sort of surface level of experiences and sensations and things. And so I kind of interpreted that as having fun when we do something that feels good and fun. Eudaimonic is not exactly the opposite, but a little bit different version of that, which is the deeper level of sort of finding meaning and finding purpose and being fulfilled, that kind of happiness. And I think if we think about those two, then both of them, you can see how they come up in music. I actually had one of those hedonic experiences just last week when I was working on the excerpts for the ICA competition, and they were going really, really well. It was excerpts that I've been playing for many years at this point, like Mendelssohn Scherzo, Beethoven 8, Dances of Galanta. And I was playing them last week, and it just felt so good. I was like, man, I don't think my Mendelssohn Scherzo has ever sounded that good. So that was kind of that surface level of really joyous and fun and exciting. Like, oh, wow, I actually this sounds great and is going really well. But also, maybe even in that same experience, there was also that deeper sort of eudaimonic level of growth and improvement of thinking, wow, I'm actually all of those years of practicing Mendelssohn Scherzo, hours and hours of my life, has actually led up to something meaningful where I've actually gotten growth and gotten to maybe a next level with it or things like that. And that's something that I'm always trying to encourage for everybody, is to find that growth, find that next level, that deeper sort of sense of satisfaction that you're actually making progress and actually growing. Because I think that's a great example of that eudaimonic thing. It's a fancy word. I think it's probably Greek or something like that, where you're have something that you're actually moving forward towards, and there's actual meaning to the time that we have. So I think music does a great job of capturing that, where yes, we have surface level wins where it's like, oh man, that was so much fun to play that. Oh, I finally got the thing and it feels great. But also there's that deeper, week after week, I can see myself getting better. I can see things that I used to struggle with are now easier, and that purpose and meaning and drive and striving to get to the next level that I think is so important for life to feel fulfilling. So that was sort of the first thing that she talked about in the podcast. The second thing was having warm relationships. And that just means good relationships where you leave interactions with people feeling like, oh, that felt good. That was a positive interaction, rather than if you get in an argument or something like that, that's the opposite. But again, what better place to have that than in music? Every time you make music with somebody else, it almost always comes away feeling better, unless there's something crazy that happens. It's very rare that I'll leave a rehearsal in a bad mood. 90% of the time, it's like, oh, I'm so glad that I got to make music with these people and connect. And sometimes the beauty of music too is It's very easy to have negative interactions when you're talking about things or discussing big ideas, but the beauty of music is you're just creating something together, and that communication through music is such an easy and wonderful way to have a positive and warm connection with people. So that's another win for music, making your life feel fulfilling and finding happiness. The third one was this idea of sort of inner peace, which came down to living in the moment. And again, I don't think I can think of really anything better for living in the moment. Yeah, maybe like meditation is really good, but I've said this before on like the live weekly warm up and things like that. For me, long tones sometimes feel like a meditation. And the reason is you're fully in the moment if you're doing it right. Sure, you can run through your long tones and be thinking like, oh, I wonder what I'm going to be eating for dinner. Oh, I remember like this argument I got in. You can be thinking about other things. But if you're doing your long tones properly, which again is the way that I'm always encouraging people to be doing it, you're sitting there thinking, okay, really listening to the sound that's coming back to you in the moment, thinking about the sensation of like the feeling, how does it feel to be playing this note? You're always adjusting and adapting, and whether it's long tones or a difficult passage of technique or whatever it may be, if you're doing it properly, 100% of your mental bandwidth is focused on how can I know what I want, get what I want, and reflect on how it's actually coming out of the instrument. And when you're sort of in that zone where your whole brain is focused on that, that's exactly living in the moment. And that's when you start to find that inner peace, because when you're doing your long tones, that argument you got in earlier today, it doesn't matter anymore because you're focused on this. That stressful project that you have coming up, it doesn't matter anymore because you're focused on this. So it's just another way that music can really help you to find all of those zones of happiness that research has shown are the roots of happiness. So that's sort of what my mission is to help more people experience music. And you may be thinking to yourself, like I mentioned, 90% of the time, music is a warm interaction and connection. And yes, there are some times, and maybe that would be something worth talking about in the future. Let me know in the comments if that's something you would want to know more about. But sometimes music can be sort of a deficit to all of those things. On the hedonic level, you can get frustrated when something isn't going well, and that's actually a bad feeling. On the eudaimonic, maybe you feel like you aren't making progress. And again, that's causes surface level frustration, but also causes long-term questioning of like, is this even worth doing? Warm connections. Yeah, you could get in a fight about music and that's not going to be a great relationship. And inner peace. Sometimes you can be playing and be stressed about stuff, or especially when you're like a student who's majoring in music or a professional, sometimes you might have a stressful performance coming up, and that's the thing that's taking away from your inner peace. So of course it's possible for music to not create happiness, but I think all of the sort of formula is there. And again, that's my mission, is to help you feel the happiness in music rather than the unhappiness. I've been thinking a bit about sort of my mission and what I want to accomplish with my life and Quick Start Clarinet in particular. And that's the big thing for me is, yes, there are some of those frustrating things, but hopefully I can be there to help with those frustrations and do whatever you need, whether it's a different explanation of something or some motivation and inspiration to actually do the work and make progress, or how to actually do the work the most effectively to make progress. Like that's where I'm trying to be helpful so that you can get that happiness rather than the frustration out of music. So you should go to quickstartclarinet.com and see all the ways I have there that can help you to find more happiness in music. But I hope that this has been sort of enlightening to see that that's what the research says creates happiness, and it's all at your fingertips in music as long as you do your long tones the right way. I think that's the takeaway, right? You should just do your long tones better. Another good takeaway is let's go to our template and get that filled out for the week. So link in the description, quickstartclarinet.com/get started to get the free members area where this template is. Or you can, of course, recreate it for yourself. It's super simple. Just the date for the week, the reflection of how things are going, the goal for what you want to achieve this week. And then the most important part is the plan for what days and times you're going to be practicing, what you're going to be focusing on while you're practicing, so that you can actually put that in your calendar, set reminders, do whatever it takes so that you'll show up and do the work. Because when you show up and do the work and have just a little bit of intentionality about making progress and being deliberate about what you're practicing, then it makes a world of difference in that long-term eudaimonic growth. It also makes a world of difference in the hedonic experience too, where you can have fun achieving the things that you wanted to achieve. There's little things more satisfying to the human brain than checking off your to-do list and accomplishing something that you planned to accomplish. So I hope that this has been helpful. Right away, fill out that template. Go to quickstartclarinet.com/get started to download it if you need it. Create it for yourself, but go fill it out, put it in your calendar, and have a great week of practicing. And I'll see you all next week on the next live Monday music motivation. Monday music motivation. Bye.